My name is Kim Anderson, and I am the Title IX coordinator for UWM. I'm responsible for ensuring UWM's compliance with the federal law commonly referred to as Title IX, more specifically the Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. Simply put, this is the law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in education. And then sort of the most recent interpretation has added sort of the emphasis on the right to be free from sexual harassment while pursuing educational activities. And that includes all forms of sexual violence, so sexual assault, dating, domestic violence, stalking, etc. So kind of beyond that, my job is to really ensure that UWM's response to issues implicating Title IX are caring, that we're really focusing on how do we support individuals who are impacted by this in a way that allows them to ideally pursue and continue their educational pursuits with limited interruptions as a result of the issues. And of course, also to focus on preventing the issues from happening in the first place. We do have a definition that we are, that has been essentially dictated by federal law and applying state laws, which is essentially violence committed by a person with whom that individual is in a social relationship or a romantic relationship of an intimate nature. And that would be essentially dating violence, and that's definitely paraphrased. And then to sort of paraphrase the domestic violence definition, it's really criminal violence committed against someone with whom the victim or survivor is in an intimate relationship with, is living with, shares a child in common. Again, so it's sort of all that sort of criminal violence perpetrated against someone with whom you're in a relationship. I mean, that's a super complicated, I guess, equation that someone might be applying when they're kind of evaluating their situation, but really for any number of reasons. Certainly, we know that statistically for individuals leaving an abusive relationship, that is the time when they're most likely to kind of experience elevated abuse. So, I mean, sort of colloquially, it's sort of the most dangerous time for someone leaving an abusive relationship is sort of right at that moment when they're leaving. And so, of course, we have to assume that individuals who are in that situation are kind of applying that analysis. They're trying to make sure that they can leave safely. There may be a number of other factors at play. Certainly, you know, abusive relationships are usually involve a significant power imbalance or a power dynamic. And so, you know, kind of the individual who is in the position of less power may be vulnerable financially, physically, socially, or some combination thereof. And so, again, individuals stay because of fear for their safety. Maybe they're not in a place where they can see another option, whether that's because of low self-esteem, that this type of kind of abusive relationship is all they've ever known. Hard to see, you know, a way out. And certainly a lack of resources can be a significant factor for people. You know, again, our number one priority when we receive a report is just to make sure that students have access to resources, that they know about the confidential resources and services, as well as the potential response options. And so, kind of depending on the wishes of the individual. Obviously, we could, they can connect with confidential resources and decide that that's all they want to do. Those confidential resources include like our confidential advocate on campus. We also have counseling services, and certainly then also the confidential advocates within the community. Within those resources, and specifically within at UWM, there are ways that we can provide support that don't involve an investigation, meaning, the confidential advocate on campus can help, contact faculty and request an extension or flexibility in deadlines, et cetera. Certainly, we can assist with that from within the Title IX office, but we don't have the same level of can't ensure the same level of confidentiality that the advocate can, but we also don't disseminate information unless we need to address the concern or to provide support. And of course, they can request an investigation that would sort of be either facilitated through my office with campus partners, or would actually be conducted within my office. And so if they were to choose to have an investigation conducted by us, there's some obviously factors at play. We would have to have some level of authority over the individual who's allegedly causing the harm. But if, again, I always emphasize that if we don't have the ability to address it via an investigation, we can certainly help kind of connect and facilitate other support and resources. Individuals can, of course, also report to the police, and they can do kind of any of those simultaneously. So the university process is separate and distinct from a criminal investigative process, which, we do have a different standard of proof, which is a slightly lower standard of proof than the criminal process. Hearing and disciplinary process is much kind of less formal and abbreviated compared to a full criminal. I always emphasize that, again, our goal is to empower the individual to decide what's best for them.